Okay. Hi, everyone. It is 11 o'clock Mountain Time. We are going to go ahead and get started. I do want to note that this is being recorded. We will be posting this to HeroX coming up here shortly, as well as all of the FAQs and Q&As and all of the good information that we go through today that will be available following today's webinar on HeroX. Please do chat any questions as we go along or any technical difficulties that you might be having. We can help you out in the chat. My name is Lindsay. I work at NREL in the communications department, so I can help you out on that front, and any of the technical questions or prize related questions will go to Sarah and Catherine as we move along. So today we'll go through just a few housekeeping items. We'll go through all the details related to the prize, eligibility, important dates, rules, and then we'll go through a HeroX demonstration in case anybody has not explored HeroX or used it for
Lindsay, I think we may have lost you, but I can jump in. Catherine, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Gomash. I work at the National Renewable Energy Lab on the team that administers these prize challenges. We are so excited to be here today to talk to you about the EPIC prize. As Lindsay mentioned, this webinar will be recorded and posted on HeroX. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A or the chat throughout this presentation. We will be responding to all the questions in written form and posting those responses on HeroX moving forward. I think before we dive into all the details of the prize, I want to turn things over to Catherine. She is with the U.S. Department of Energy's Office of Technology Transitions, who is graciously sponsoring this prize, and I will turn it over to Catherine to kick things off.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Harshani. I'm the program manager for the Energy Program for Innovation Clusters, or EPIC, and we are super excited to share OTT's new iteration, round 2 of the EPIC prize with you today. I hope you all will consider competing. First, I'll tell you about the Office of Technology Transitions, then I'll give you an overview of EPIC, what it was, why we changed it, what it is now, and then I'll pass it back to Sarah to get into the details. So the Office of Technology Transitions, or OTT, was set up in 2015 to expand the public impact of DOE's research, development, demonstration, and deployment portfolio to advance the economic, energy, and national security interests of the nation. OTT's responsibility extends throughout the department's programs, the 17 national laboratories, and other research and production facilities located throughout the country. So we kind of see ourselves as a cross-cutting office and can be the front door to DOE's products, facilities, and expertise. OTT integrates a market pull into its planning to ensure the greatest return on investment from DOE's R&D, D&D activities to the taxpayer. Together, OTT works with internal and external partners to enhance the nation's economic competitiveness and strengthen its leadership in innovation and transformative, impactful technologies. And this is kind of where EPIC comes in. Next slide, please. So starting in 2020, Congress tasked OTT to support energy technology incubators, building innovation clusters for startups. And innovation clusters help increase local business productivity, improve the commercial success of startups, and drive the pace of regional innovation. Incubators, accelerators, and other innovation accelerating organizations, like most of yourselves listening right now, provide the direct support for startups and have the potential to de-risk the startups for follow-on investors. Next slide, please. So many of you may already know EPIC from round 1. as the single phase prize in 2020, where 20 winners won $50,000 each for plans to develop strong clusters and support for energy tech startups. And then the funding opportunity announcement in 2021 that awarded 10 winners up to $1 million each to support robust energy innovation ecosystems and stimulate energy hardware development in regions across the US. Key to note on prizes is that they are awarded for work done. So awardees are unrestricted in their use of the funds. Funding opportunity announcements are normally multi-year cooperative agreement projects with substantial involvement from DOE throughout project execution. Next slide, please. So this round of EPIC has the same main goals, but taking into consideration the feedback from awardees and the RFI released earlier this year, we have redesigned EPIC Round 2 to be a new 3-phase prize instead of only 1 phase, no FOA or funding opportunity announcement, and added new startup pitch competitions. And this new structure benefits competitors like many of you because it optimizes the application process, thus lowering the pain of entry and making it much easier for you to apply. It streamlines the funding timeline so you get the funding faster for your great work done. It offers multiple levels of funding. You can win cash at each phase of the prize and the pitch competitions. Then there are also chances to win bonus prizes. The first phase of EPIC Round 2, Design It, just launched a month ago, and it is similar to the original EPIC Round 1 prize, where you compete with your program plan. In the second and third phases of EPIC Round 2, you will put the plan into action. Here you can see the two main components of EPIC Round 2 and the 3-phase core prize program and the startup pitch competition. Sarah will dive further into these 2 components as well as the bonus opportunities. I hope you all follow the challenge and consider competing. Take it away, Sarah. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks for teeing this up. Next slide, please. So as Catherine mentioned, this is a 3-phase prize competition, and it's targeted at incubators. OTT specifically invites incubator organizations that aid in the development of new business ventures, business accelerators, co-working startup communities, or any other organization that self-identify as advocates for innovation and entrepreneurship to compete in EPIC. I just want to emphasize this point. I know a lot of prize programs that we put out are really focused on the innovator, the entrepreneur, the startup. This one is specifically for incubators. So if you're an incubator organization, please apply here. If you are a startup, there will be an opportunity for you, as Catherine mentioned, in those pitch competitions, but this is not the prize for you. So I just wanted to make sure that that's really, really clear going in. So this is a 3-phase competition. You must win the first phase to move on to the next. The 3 phases are called Design It, Move It, and Prove It. Hopefully those succinct names give you an idea of what you're doing in each phase. In Design It, we're asking you to design something we're calling an MVP, a minimum viable program that focuses on program requirements that we'll get to in a minute. We want you to implement this over the course of the prize, which will last just over a year. This is fast, but we are looking for you to develop this program to prove it out and show us that it can be something that can be replicated or scaled over the course of this competition. In each track, we'll talk about those tracks in a minute as well. There's a track for new and emerging incubators and one for established incubators. In each track, we'll have 10 winners. Each winner will get $50,000 in prize funds each for a total of 20 winners. Again, as Catherine mentioned, this is prize funds. It differs from a lot of other government funding in that it is no strings attached funding for work that you've already done. So you're showing us a plan and we're awarding you $50,000 to do with kind of the most impactful thing that you can with that $50,000. Those 20 teams will then be in the move it phase. You'll move your minimum viable program forward by demonstrating momentum and progress toward implementation. As the name suggests, you're moving your program forward and make as much progress as you can. 5 winners in each track will win $100,000 each. So we'll have 10 finalists going out of Move It. The last phase is Prove It. Again, hopefully the name suggests what we're looking for, but we want you to prove that the implementation of your program was successful and show us a plan for replicating or scaling it. 4 winners will receive $500,000 each. These 4 winners, unlike the past 2 phases, could come from either track. So in Design It and Move It, the tracks are separate. In Prove It, any 4 of the 10 competitors could win. Remember, these are straight cash prizes, no strings attached. You can use them as you'd like and in the most impactful way possible. I think this is a great program because if you make it all the way through and become one of those 4 winners, you're looking at about $650,000 of support for programs at your incubator over the course of about a year. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, OTT invites incubator organizations that aid in the development of new business ventures to compete, business accelerators, co-working startup communities, organizations that advocate for entrepreneurship and innovation. You must be a non-governmental entity based in the United States. Our rules go through the eligibility criteria in more detail, but again, we're looking at incubators and accelerators. So this competition is open to private entities, for-profits and nonprofits, and academic institutions. Private entities must be incorporated in and maintain primary place of business in the US. Academic institutions must be based in the US. The proposed programming that you're working on must emphasize supporting startups with a hard tech focus. That's not to say you can't support startups with a software focus, but we're really looking for an emphasis on hard tech focus. That's also for the program that you're proposing here. Maybe you are an incubator that does a lot of work with software, but are looking to expand your program to hard tech. We're really looking to fund things that are hard tech focused. A single competitor. A competitor is what we're referring to an incubator or an accelerator organization as. So essentially you may only submit 1 submission. So I know a lot of you probably have 150 great ideas of new programmings that you want to do to support energy entrepreneurs. Pick your best one and put that one in. So 1 submission per competitor. And again, I'm going to say this over and over and over again, but the official rules are up on HeroX. We will be sure to drop a link in the chat at some point in time during this webinar. I just can't talk and drop a link at the same time, but we'll get you a link that will get you there. Read the rules, print them out, highlight things. The rules document is incredibly important. Next slide. Okay, the prize. So you're going to apply to one of 2 tracks, one for new and emerging incubators. We have some details on what that means in the rules document, and a second track for established incubators. Regardless of which track you fall under, all competitors, again, that's you, must do 3 things. We're asking you to create new programming through this prize. Your programming must somehow support startup creation, and you also must work to grow and strengthen regional partnerships. Then your new programming must target one of the following areas. So you get to pick which piece off of this list seems more relevant, most relevant to you, your regional location, your situation, the strengths of your organization. It could be diversity, equity, and inclusion. I could be looking at serving rural and disadvantaged communities, a focus on lab to market, a sector-specific support area, or another high-impact theme. Again, more details can be found, guess where, in that rules document. So be sure to take a look at that and read through that in depth, especially for descriptions of these areas. Next slide. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, you can focus on whatever topic area is most relevant to you. But if you focus your support on entrepreneurs and startups in one of these 4 areas, you could be eligible for a bonus prize. As the name suggests, a bonus prize is an additional prize for these 4 areas. So 1 is building technologies, solar energy, water power, or geothermal technologies. There's $50,000 available for each of these technology bonus areas. when you put in your submission, you'll be asked whether or not you're competing for a specific bonus prize. This bonus prize could be awarded on top of a design it phase submission or award. So you could win $50,000 for being one of the best 20 entries that we receive, plus $50,000 a bonus prize. Or you could be the top entry in one of these bonus prize topic areas without being kind of one of the top 20 teams. So that would extend our semifinalist pool from 20 to 21, 22, 23, 24. So again, you don't have to focus in one of these areas, but if you do, there's more money available either on top of a design it prize or instead of. Again, take a look at the details of what each of these topic areas are looking for. They are, you guessed it, in the rules, and read those in depth and see if the services that you're providing are really focused on one of these technology areas. OTT is very grateful to the program offices at DOE that have put these bonus prizes in to really focus on support for incubators in their technical areas. Next slide. Okay, do you remember that we also mentioned a startup pitch competition? I know there's been a lot of information. So we have the core incubator prize, we have bonus prizes, and then we have this startup pitch competition. Anyone who wins the design it phase or a bonus prize in the design it phase is eligible to nominate a startup to compete in this competition. We'll be offering a first, second, and third place cash prize to startups, plus a $25,000 prize to the incubator that nominates the first place startup. The pitch competition will happen twice, once during Move It, that's the second phase, and once during Prove It. There's also bonus prize funding available for startups that are specifically solar focused. For today's purposes, you don't need to understand the deep mechanics of how the startup pitch competition works. If you are a design it phase or a bonus prize winner, we'll be sending you a lot more information on how to nominate those teams. But I want you to know that this opportunity is available. To kind of put it in perspective, we're asking you to develop a new program that focuses on startup creation. And then we're giving those startups that you're hopefully supporting an opportunity to win cash in the pitch competition. So it's one of those sort of win-win feedback cycle circles of we fund you to support startups, and then we also fund an opportunity for startups to get money and an opportunity if you nominate the best pitch startup to get money for your support of that team too. So I'm really excited that OTT has thought about how these pieces work together and that there are opportunities for those startups that hopefully you're supporting with the new programming to really be successful. Next slide. Okay, let's dive into the design it phase rules. The submission deadline is October 25th, 2022. That is a hard deadline. There will not be extensions. I encourage you to get your submission in early so you don't run into any technical difficulties or glitches at the end. October 25th, write it on your calendar, circle that date, bold it in Outlook, whatever you need to do. October 25th is the date. Next slide. Read the rules. I think I've already mentioned this, but the rules are available online. The rules include a template for the narrative, suggested content for you for each question, some of the other pieces that we'd like to see in your submission, the scoring process and criteria, the eligibility, more details about what we're looking for. It's all there. It's a great read. Check it out. Next slide. We had mentioned that this prize has two tracks, one for emerging incubators and one for established incubators. And I think probably one question that you already have is, which track am I? This is in the rules, but we'll go through it here as well. We consider you a new or emerging incubator if one of these statements or if zero of these statements is true. If your organization's been incorporated for 5+ years, if you've provided support to more than 30 startups, if you've seen more than 1.5 million in third-party investment flow, or if you've had companies in your portfolio that have reached a combined total of over 100 million in third-party investments. We think you're an established incubator if 2 or more of these are true. I know this seems like one of those logic games. So again, we'll have these slides available. You can read through it, kind of decide where you think you fall. We also reserve the right to move you from one track to another if we think that you have submitted to the wrong track. But please try to do us a favor and submit to the right track based on these criteria. Next slide. Okay, what are we asking you to do? We want you to design a minimal viable programming focused for energy entrepreneurs on those program requirements. Again, we're looking for a new program focused on energy entrepreneurs that meets those program requirements. That's startup creation, regional partnerships, and then one of those key areas that we ask you to pick. In the design it phase submission, we're really asking for a plan. That's what we need by October 25th. So don't be nervous that we need you to implement a huge program in the next month and a half. We're looking for you to really put your best foot forward, be creative, and give us a plan on what could this new program be? How can I develop it? How can I implement it? Is my team, do they have the capabilities to be successful in supporting entrepreneurs? And what sort of metrics would I propose to show that this is really, really successful moving forward? So again, we're looking for a plan around that program, around the needs area that you've picked, around your team and organization, and propose those metrics. Next slide. Again, we covered this a little bit, but just as a reminder, we need you to create new programming. We need you to support startup creation and build those regional partnerships, and then select one of these program areas: diversity, equity, inclusion, rural and disadvantaged communities, lab to market, sector-specific support, which could be one of those bonus prize areas, but doesn't necessarily have to be, or another high impact theme. Could be something like workforce development, manufacturing support. You tell us what's really important in your region. Next slide. What to submit. If you have seen some of these American-made challenges come out before, this probably looks very familiar to you. We are following a similar format. The first thing we want is a 90-second video. Then you will have a core narrative that has a cover page, but it answers 4 questions. We ask for a 1-slide PowerPoint summary. And then if you have any letters of commitment or support, you don't need them, but if you have them, we ask you to upload those as well. The submission deadline is October 25th. Next slide. 90-second video. This is really your opportunity to make a first impression. We are not looking for a Hollywood level production style here, but I think a lot of times when the reviewers go through these submissions, the video is a really great first introduction to you, your team, your organization, and your idea. So we encourage you to talk about your organization, talk about your proposed program, why it's unique, and upload it to a public website like YouTube. As I said, production value doesn't need to be over the top, but we do prefer that, sound quality is good, that you're not like standing out in the middle of a hurricane trying to record this video. I think a lot of people with this video, it's iPhone recording, and that's great, but definitely remember this is your first impression with the reviewers, so you want to put a good foot forward. This is also an opportunity to be creative, and this is something that we make public to everyone after the close of this phase of the prize, so they can see all of the great teams and kind of basic overviews of the solutions that you're proposing. So if there is something that you don't want the public to know, don't say it in this video. Next slide. Then I mentioned that core narrative. We have a template on HeroX. Again, if you go to the rules, there's a lot more detail here, but we have 4 questions that we want you to answer in 2,500 words or less. You get to pick how the words are distributed across these 4 questions. So if you have a lot more to say for one category than the other, use your words where you want to. These 4 questions are: first, tell us about the problem. We are hoping to get applicants from across the country, and we know your regional contexts are all very different. So show us that you understand what's going on and that there's a need for the program that you're proposing. Number 2, tell us about that minimum viable program, how it fulfills our prize objectives. Number 3, tell us about your plan to implement this program and how you're going to validate its success, both over the course of the next couple phases of the prize and moving forward. And then 4, finally, tell us about your organization, your team, that regional network, and why you're qualified to be doing this. This portion is not public. Only our panel of expert reviewers will be reading this. They do all sign an NDA before they access your submission. So keep that audience in mind as you are writing. Next slide. Okay. We wanted to just briefly show you the HeroX website. We've referred to that a couple of times and it might be a little bit confusing. HeroX is a third-party site that we use to host all of our prize challenges, including this one. So you will go to the website, you will find the Epic Prize Round 2 tile, and this is where you are able to interact with the prize administration team, put in your submission, talk with other competitors on the forum. This is where all the action happens. This is what the HeroX page for Epic looks like when you pull it up. You will have to make an account on HeroX if you don't already have one. You can do that by clicking on the Solve This Challenge button. We encourage you, even if you don't have your submission ready today, which I don't blame you for. I don't think anyone quite has their submission ready, but I encourage you to go onto HeroX to click that button to solve this challenge and become a follower of this page. That ensures that our team, as we post updates, like the recording of this webinar or the answers to any questions that come in, you'll get a notification and you can also access all of that information. So I think go over to HeroX as soon as we hang up from this, follow that challenge, become part of this community, and that will make sure that you're in the know, that you get those reminders leading up to October 25th. When you are ready, you will also click that Solve This Challenge button to start your submission. You can start your submission at any time. You can save progress throughout. You can submit your submission early, and then you can go back and edit it as many times as you would like prior to that October deadline. All of this happens here. Thank you. Lindsay has dropped the HeroX link in the chat. If you're a good multitasker, why don't you click on that right now, go in, make yourself a profile, and follow the challenge. You'll see on HeroX, the main navigation for this challenge is kind of in the middle of the screen. On the Overview and Guidelines tabs, you'll find some information about the prize program. The timeline will have important dates. The updates will have some of those notifications posted from us. Currently, there's one telling you about this webinar. We'll also post the webinar link there and some reminders throughout. The forum, I think, is a place I definitely encourage you to check out. It is like any other public forum. You can type questions, people can respond to you. If you're looking for maybe a regional partner or someone to partner with, I think the forum is a great way to chat about some of that. The Entries tab is where you will see your entry. The Resources tab has things like that official rules document, the template for that core narrative, and then the FAQs, I think, as you know, are frequently asked questions that will also be posted there. So this is HeroX. This is your go-to place. Follow it, watch it the next couple of months as we move toward this Design It phase deadline. What's next? Follow the challenge on HeroX. Hopefully you're doing that right now. Read those rules. I think the link for that is also in the chat. That's where all the important information will be in way more depth than we covered it today. And then put in your submission by October 25th. If you have joined this webinar by accident and are realizing that this is not the program for you, first off, thanks for sticking around for this half hour while we talked about it. But second off, tell your friends who would be a good applicant for this program. We're always looking for help to spread the word. We want this to kind of get out to any accelerator incubator out there. As I mentioned, you don't necessarily have to be someone that works in the energy space right now. If offering a program for energy entrepreneurs is a good move or pivot for you, we welcome you to apply. If this is something you've been doing for a long time and you have a new program need, we welcome you to apply too. If you aren't an incubator yet, but you're gonna be. You would definitely be a new and emerging incubator, and we encourage you to apply too. I think that is kind of the end of our presentation. As I mentioned, if you have any questions, we would love to take them in the chat. We will be answering them in written form on HeroX. So another reason to go visit that HeroX website. We also do have an email address for this prize, epicprize@nrel.gov, if you do have specific questions. However, I will tell you, if your question can be answered by reading the rules document, the response to that question will point you to the rules document. So check that first. Don't just email us right away. But we are here to help, and we want you to be successful in this process. And again, I am so excited that OTT has decided to do a second round of the EPIC prize. I don't know if you are totaling up the money throughout the presentation, but it's over $4 million that's available under this program to really deserving organizations like some of you that are on the line today. So I'm really excited to see the programs that you come up with, the plans that you put in, and to see this project through and to support you as you continue to develop programs out to support these energy entrepreneurs. Catherine, I know I monopolized the conversation here. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up.
Oh, we're just very excited that the prize has just launched, and we hope you all will follow the challenge and consider competing.
Great.
And
Thank you.
if you have any questions, just put them in the chat again, or send them to the email here.
Or post them on that HeroX forum.
Yes.
Anyway, they'll get to us, and we will be posting answers shortly. But thank you so much for joining us. As I said, we're really excited about this opportunity. Go back, brainstorm, think of your idea, and let's get it in for Design It and start to move some of these forward. I think maybe Lindsay will just hang on the line for another minute or two if anyone is a slow typer or just had a question come to mind. Otherwise, we will be wrapping this webinar up early and giving you some time back in your day. If you're in Mountain Time like me, hopefully an early lunch. For others, maybe a coffee or breakfast break. But thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing your submissions on that October 25th.